All right, good afternoon, members of council and administration and our guests that are with us as delegations this evening. And also those who are streaming from the comfort of your home. Welcome to our 6:30 meeting, live streamed. So roll call, all members of council are present. To the members, any disclosure of pecuniary interest on the agenda as presented here this evening? None declared, so we'll have that reflected in the clerk's minutes. Introduction and purpose of our meeting today is to hear public comment on the application number 37 CD 20002 for approval of a plan of condominium on a vacant 1.08 hectares, 2.68 acres, a parcel of land situated in northeast corner of Tecumseh Road and Southfield Drive intersection, known as 11870 Tecumseh Road. Purpose of the application is to request a plan of condominium approval to permit the condominium ownership of the units within a 6-story 99-unit apartment building. Condominium approval will also include associated parking spaces and storage areas. Subject property is designated in a site-specific commercial designation in the Tecumseh official plan in Zone General Commercial Zone C3-15 in the Tecumseh zoning bylaw 1746. The designation of the zoning permit, the construction of the proposed 6-story 99-unit apartment building. And we do have a delegation of Mr. Peter Valente and Mr. David Mady of Gateway Tower. And now I would like to ask Mr. Hillman if there's anything else you want to add to the introduction and purpose of our meeting.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And very briefly, I know that council is quite familiar with the development proposed in this property, but for the benefit of anyone who might be watching live streaming, I'll quickly just go through the application again in front of council this evening. So the property outlined in red on the map on your screen is at the corner of Southfield Drive and Tecumseh Road. Just east of the TD Bank that's there. The yellow block is illustrative of the building that's proposed. So it's a 6-story building with 99 units. Sean, if we just go to the next drawing, just to remind council and everyone that this is the image and the perspective from Tecumseh Road. And Mr. Valente, of course, has been working with the town now for well over a year on this proposal in a number of fashions. So council has seen this go through various planning processes, from an official plan amendment, a zoning amendment, and ultimately a site plan agreement, which was executed by council some time ago. So this is the last stage in the process as approvals. A draft plan of subdivision has been filed with the County of Essex. They are the approval authority for plans of condominium and plans of subdivision in our region. And a plan of condominium fundamentally is a form of ownership. So the building is owned by a condo corp. Ultimately, each individual unit is owned by the purchaser, and the plan itself identifies individual units that are purchased. In this case, some of the parking areas, some private outdoor space areas, but it also establishes clearly what are the common areas, what does the corporation itself own as an entire entity. If we were to turn to page 15, Sean, it's a more formal look, and I understand the scale is challenging, but north is, there's the north arrow. There's each individual unit and common floors, and you'll see if we just shift the drawing over slightly, Via Rail is to the left side of the drawing and Tecumseh Road is to the right side of the drawing. And it fundamentally is a means, not unlike a plan of subdivision, it's breaking the property into different components. So that form of ownership is quite common, condominium. Having said that, what the proposal is right now is that Mr. Valente, through one of his corporations, will actually solely own the property and the units, and they will be rented for a period of 10 years minimum, as he is involved with a program with CMHC. And it requires that type of rental situation. So that's what's in front of us, although the condo process can proceed at this time. So the purpose of the meeting is to really, on behalf of the county, who's the approval authority, hear any input that the public might have, any input that council might have. The report that's in front of council this evening summarizes the nature of the application. And we're at a point in it, subject to not hearing any comments that need to be resolved, to recommend support for this draft plan of condominium with a number of conditions. Sean, if you were to go to page 9, please, of the report, or is that available? If you can. And page 9, you'll see a number of conditions. There are 3. Fundamentally, these conditions have been met as of today's date, but through this process, even though we have already signed agreements that resolve these issues, it's appropriate for the draft plan to have the conditions in place, and they'll immediately be met. They're standard conditions regarding the signing of an agreement detailing how the development will proceed, stormwater management study to address stormwater, and that there's a confirmation it all complies with zoning. In addition, there's a note that we're recommending council proceed to file with the County of Essex regarding the form of the plan, and it's a technical issue of a Ontario Land Surveyor NAD 83 format. So, Mr. Mayor, that's the application that's in front of council this evening. If there's any questions, be happy to try and address those.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hillman. Any questions, members of council, to admin? We do have both the proponents that are here as well, if there's any questions that you would like to direct to them. Deputy Mayor Joe Bicchetti.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Peter and David, for coming tonight. This is exciting for our town. We need more diversification in terms of residential units so people can afford to move in and live in Tecumseh and benefit the amenities. One of the questions is regarding the main floor. Is there any proposal for any commercial retail on the main floor? Or are they all basically rental units throughout?
It's an entirely a residential development. It's just for the purposes of my experience in Windsor, Essex County, that I don't see too many mixed-use successful developments. Generally, the people that live there don't really want businesses operating underneath, and the businesses, in some respects, sometimes don't want people living on top. This is purely, residential. It makes it a little easier to finance that way as well. Once you get into commercial, the banks are a little bit more sensitive to those types of developments. I guess that's a good thing, given, probably the commercial real estate market will be down a little bit, given, the impacts of the pandemic and whatnot. Just to explain a little bit about the proposal, I've kind of done that a few times, but I would want to reiterate. So the proposal that's in front of you is to title this as a condominium, and the purposes of the application, and people would say, well, why are you bothering to condo if you're going to rent? Well, the reason is we're in the final strokes of the underwriting process with CMHC under a national housing strategy. This is from the Government of Canada. CMHC administrates a government of the federal government program in order to facilitate the construction of new rental properties throughout Canada. So they were seeing that the rental stock wasn't being replenished, so they came up with a program offering attractive interest rates for developers, provided we're able to meet certain criteria. Things like the community improvement plan was important to the CMHC things, the participation of the municipality and reduction of taxes, development charges, planning fees. They wanted to see an all-encumbrance and proposals. They told us that was something that was attractive to them. So that's why we picked this particular location for this proposal. And if we're approved, we're going to get a loan from CMHC under favorable terms, but we also have to meet certain affordability requirements. So CMHC has their hands in setting the rents, setting ceilings on what we can charge for the properties. It's not quote unquote low income or any designation in that regard. It's just about bringing more market, below market rent, market to below, slightly below market rent stock into the housing stock to replenish, to meet the demand, for people that want to live in a certain area that might otherwise not be able to afford to purchase or not want to purchase. So it's a rental. And our commitment with CMHC, if we're approved, we're going to maintain these as rental units for a period of 10 years. At that time in 10 years, in order to give us flexibility in terms of what we do with the building at that point, I just wanted to make the application now for a condo status, because again, in my experience in other developments throughout Essex County, in order to convert a multi-residential building into a condo in the future, certain criteria has to be met in terms of vacancy rates, and there's all kinds of a host of different things that need to be met. And I didn't want to basically corner myself. It's only a unit of one building with 99 units in it. These will be individually 99 units that I am going to rent for 10 years. And after 10 years, we might sell them individually. We might continue to rent them. We might sell the building. There's all kinds of different, or, sell 99 units on block to a new owner, or sell them individually. So that's what's before you this evening.
Thank you. Just to follow up, in terms of timelines, what are you anticipating in terms of getting started and a shovel in the ground there?
So we're in for a building permit. I'm told by the town that the building permit is available. The CMHC is telling us, provided that everything goes the way as expected, we could see shovels in the ground as early as October. And probably for a building of this size, we're looking at an 18-month construction timeline. So we're looking at hopefully occupying this building in 2021 around Christmas time, excuse me.
Okay, any further questions? Councillor Tonio and Councillor Dowry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Peter, just wondered what kind of rent do you think we'll be looking at? I know it's tough to predict with the market nowadays, but monthly, what kind of rent would people be looking at? And are there 1 bedrooms? Are there 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms? The layout, roughly, just knows.
There's a mix of suites. I'll let David speak to the rental amounts that the lower I don't know what the 1 bedrooms would be starting at. I think David knows that, and then what the two bedrooms. He's been dealing with CMHC on that, so I'll let him just speak to that.
Sure. Good evening. Based on our appraisals, rents averaging for 1 bedrooms were approximately $1,800 and $2,100 for 2 bedrooms. But CMHC has significant underwriting parameters where we have to have all of our building come in at 90% below market, and then 20% of the units fall within their affordable parameters, which brings the 1 bedrooms to approximately $1,400 a month, and the 2 bedrooms to around $1,800 a month. That's average. So, some would be a little bit higher, some would be a little bit lower, but that's about an average based on their financing parameters and affordability thresholds that we have to meet.
Thank you.
Yeah. And that is like we're in, for example, in LaSalle, we've done a rental building. We're charging like $2,100 for a 2 bedroom and almost $1,800 for a 1. So that's even less than LaSalle because of the CMHC requirement. And we have to fall within a certain parameter, like David said. So it's considerably cheaper or more affordable than similar developments throughout Essex County.
Thank you. Thank you for looking into that too, to bring down the cost for our residents and the rental rates. So appreciate you guys doing the work in the front end. So when you build this building, we have something a little more affordable for our residents to have a chance to rent or possibly purchase one day too. Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Councillor Dowie.
Thank you, Worship. Just one comment for the applicants. I'd like to echo what's been said. This is a welcome development with a lot of, it'll fill a big void that we have in the community. Just definitely appreciate you bringing it forward, and especially given the uncertainty in the economy. So just I wanted to leave that with you, and looking forward to seeing shovels on the ground. I do have a question for the administration at the appropriate time, Mayor. I don't know if now is the time or later on.
No, do it right now, Councillor Dowie.
Okay, thank you. I think this might be best suited for Mr. Kitsos. and it has to do with the tax implications of a condo conversion, if any. Would there be any change in terms of the revenues that would come into the town if this condo, if the condo designation carries instead of the rental?
Thank you through the mayor. Thank you, Councillor Dowie, for the question. Generally, the assessments are greater for condominiums, considerably greater as compared to a multi-res construction. Now, this is an unusual circumstance because it's basically designated as a condo. So it's really, MPAC will determine what the value is. Valuations will be based though on the income of the property as since it will be rented originally.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
All right, any further questions to our delegation? No, the only comment that I would like to make is it is a welcome project in our community, and it's the name is really apropos, as they say. It's a gateway into eventually that whole beautification of the downtown core and so forth. It's adding to the critical mass in that region, which I think is critical, and we're seeing others, especially commercial entities, that are now eyeing that particular corridor because of the fact now people are moving into that area. So I really like the project. I think it's going to be a wonderful addition to that area, and so I want to certainly thank Mr. Valente and Mr. Mady for first of all selecting that site, and we certainly, on my behalf, wish you all the success in your project moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just to reiterate, we were part of your early workshops when you guys did the planning process for this area. I'm glad I did because it brought my attention to it and what you guys, your vision for the section of Main Street and your CIP plan. And, I like doing business in Tecumseh. I like working with your administration, and I'm glad it would, this fell within municipal boundaries of the town of Tecumseh. And you guys really did set the table properly for, positioning the town and attracting this kind of thing, because without those incentives, I don't know that this project would fly. And I think that once you get more rooftops in that area, that is going to help spur on your vision of more commercial development in a more lively area of town, and we're happy to be part of that.
Very good. If nothing further, members of council, we do have a couple of pieces of communications for receipt. So if I could have a motion to receive those two items. Councillor Houston, Councillor Tonio. All in favor? Opposed, if any, that is carried. And we do have a motion on the report itself that granting of draft plan condominium approval to the County of Essex, the approval authority for the application filed by Gateway Tower, the County of Essex file number 37-D-20002 for a 6-story, 99-unit condominium dwelling on a 1.08 hectare, 2.68 acres parcel land situated at the northeast corner of Tecumseh Road and Southfield intersection, known as 11870 Tecumseh Road, be supported, subject to inclusion of appropriate conditions as noted in the Planning and Building 2020-27 report, in that the County of Essex be advised of council support of County of Essex file number 37-D-20002, along with the associated requested conditions of a draft plan of condominium approval. Deputy Mayor Bichetti moves, supported by Councilor Dowie. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried unanimous. And if there's no further questions or comments at this stage, an adjournment is proper. Councilor Tonio, Councilor Altenhoff, all in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So once again, thank you, Mr. Valente and Mr. Mady, And all the best. And let's get those shovels in the ground.
Okay, we plan to. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye
Peter.
now.